What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Lineman Life Live. It's Monday, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to act like we know everything that's going to happen for the rest of the season right here, right now, based off 1 week of football, because our team either won and we're going to the Super Bowl, or our team lost and all hope has gone down the drain with them.
Don't everybody do what I think you're going to do and freak out.
Don't freak out yet. It is Overreaction Monday. A lot of couch quarterbacks, couch potato quarterbacks going to be making a lot of decisions about their team's futures today. But hold on 1 second. We're going to break it down. We're going to give you our week's winners and losers so far in week one. Now, we do have one game left, Monday Night Football tonight. Who is that? That's the Seahawks.
The return of Russell Wilson. Yeah.
Broncos. That's right.
Broncos country. Yeah.
Broncos country. Let's get it. Can you say it with a little bit more enthusiasm? Broncos country. That's right.
that was my enthusiasm.
So it was, like we said last week, it's going to look sloppy. There's going to be some sloppy play in week one. And, I mean, you better believe there absolutely was. We're going to go through our winners and losers of the week from some of the most talked about games. Also, we will talk about the college football realm because college football had some upsets that are quite alarming that we're going to talk about as well. That's something that's, obviously throwing a monkey wrench into the perception of what the Power 5 conferences provide. But we'll talk about that as well. And we'll kind of just look at what is the most easy game to overreact to if you're a fan, to really just kind of lose your mind, or to kind of get a little delusional thinking your team is all that in a bag of chips.
Yes.
We'll talk about all of that coming up today. Fantasy football also, man, whoo, your boy is hot right now. We're going to check out them fantasy football matchups for week one. We got one game left with Monday Night Football, but it's pretty much set for the winners and the losers. So we'll take a look and give some shout outs on that. But let's get into this thing, man. I mean, what did you think, Justin? What did you think about week one in general? Like, I know you're a Cowboys fan, so, your heart might be a little bit sore right now because, oh, my God. But what did you see in week one? Just seeing, how teams came out of the gate. A lot of teams actually played decent games, I think, but there's still, a lot, the game's going to get a lot smoother and a lot cleaner, you would hope, after this first week. What did you think?
Yeah, like we said, things were a little a sloppy week one. And, as we like to say around these parts, there's always next year. But I think you really saw it reflected in special teams play.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of kickers probably going to be on the market this week. Maybe a couple snappers. But other than that, it was, you see the games where it's really, really lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
Attention to detail, discipline. I mean, having 12, 15 penalties in a game just because you're not used to, playing full games. I mean, a lot of these teams.
A lot of penalties. A lot
of these
more
teams,
penalties, like we said.
They're not even playing starters hardly at all in the preseason anymore. So, I mean, your first real live go is, on a national game, which, okay, you might have these inter squad scrimmages and shit, or, full practices, but you can replicate a real game.
It's all controlled environments, right? Like,
yeah,
they're setting up scripts, so you're not really getting live action during the preseason, even when you're doing cross team practices. So yeah, I mean, now what did you think? For me, I thought that there was one, yeah, you had the penalties on one, but I also think that you had a lot of you had some questionable managing of the games for some teams. I mean, unfortunately, the first one that comes to mind is the Falcons and the Saints. It's like the Falcons are now the most memeable team in sports because of this habit that they have of just not being able to finish anyone off, not being able to manage the clock. and run down the clock. Also, you look in the Steelers-Bengals game, a lot of people didn't pay attention to this. Brett Coleman picked it up, and he posted about it on Twitter. But there's a point in the overtime where, okay, I think it's the Bengals. The Bengals, they're punting the ball with a minute left in overtime. They're punting the ball with still 15 seconds left on the play clock, with the running clock. Which, if you let that run down to the second to the second to 2 or 1 and punt the ball, then it's probably a different situation where you probably end up with a tie instead of a loss if you're the Bengals, because that cuts 15 more seconds off the clock. Maybe
that's another play.
Quick.
Yeah,
exactly. That's 2 plays. If you're
in 2 minutes, that's 2 plays. Yeah,
in 2 minutes, that could be 2 plays, and it just seemed like some games were managed very poorly. Some games, there was just a lot of throwaway plays that kind of didn't have an effect on the game per se, but were at the end of everything as an accumulative thing. You probably left like maybe 6 or 7 plays that should have been different plays on the field that could have helped the team. You didn't maybe hurt yourself, but you definitely didn't help yourself. And, it just seems like week 1, we can always ask all these questions. These are things that we all can, pick apart and try and figure out what is going through coaches' heads. But
coaches are not immune. They are not immune to that first week jitter. Yeah,
I think some coaches did get kind of caught up in the moment, and kind of cost their team at the end of the day. I mean, again, you look at a team like, you look at what happened with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I mean, it was just the luck of the draw. Who can get the closest to kick the field goal, basically?
Anybody want to win this game?
But the Falcons just. And I guess now we're kind of moving into our winners and our losers. And, let's start off with, let's start off with winners. Let's start off positive here. Let's talk about the positive outcome
feel good
from week 1. I think that this guy here is definitely a person who I would put at the top of the list for what he has been through as a player and what he came out with at the end of this week. When he's kind of been written off. This is a guy, obviously, most of you probably know who I'm talking about. Running back from the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, and what effectively is his return, his true return at 100% strength, it seemed. This dude had 194 total yards, 123 yards rushing after contact. That's huge. That means he doesn't go down on the first hit, and he had 3 15-plus yard runs. He had a 69-yard run, I believe it was. That actually sparked the Giants into actually producing some offensive football, because at that point they had done very little, and he was able to get them going with the long run that set up a score. These guys were able to, he put the game on his back, I think, in the latter half of the game, obviously with the 2-point conversion that gives them the lead to go ahead and beat the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, which Tennessee plays well at home. They play really well at home. Not a team that loses very often at home. The Giants, I don't think anybody expected them to win this game. I didn't expect them to win this game, but Saquon came out and looked like the Saquon that they drafted, first-round pick, the top-of-the-chart pick. He looked like him.
I'm happy to see it. I mean, obviously, not in my division, but, I love a good redemption story.
Yeah, he's got an arc.
He's
got a good redemption arc. I mean, there were people who were talking about they should have traded this guy.
Yeah, there were
people who were saying they should have traded Saquon.
Like, don't pick up his option, get rid of. I mean, everything you could think about him. I hope it doesn't last until our game.
Good week 1 story, but
that's all it needs to be. See how he still got it.
It's a in week 1, it's a 1-game season. I think that I don't think it's an overreaction to see him as somebody who could potentially be one of the top running backs in the league this year, just because we kind of have expected him to be that guy. That's kind of been the knock has been that his injuries have kept him from being healthy enough to produce at 100%. I think this is the first time we've seen him at 100% in years. And he looks like a completely different player. I watched parts of that game. I mean, the guy has his explosiveness is there. His lateral movement is back. It looked really good. I think that he is definitely a winner, one of the winners of week 1, along with the Giants. The Giants get a big win. That's got to be a boost for the franchise. I don't think they've had a week 1 win since like 2016. Yeah. So that's got to be a boost. That's got to be a boost for a team like the Giants that have just kind of been bumbling their way through existence the last, half a decade.
Yeah, post Eli.
So that's big for them. Saquon is a winner in week 1 of the NFL season. Also, who else do we got here? Let me see. Another winner, obviously, I think a lot has been made of the Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes split. Tyreek going to Miami, and a lot of people think, wondering how he would do there with the quarterback that's got, question marks about him, and Tua Tagovailoa, and also Patrick Mahomes. There was questions about how will this Kansas City offense look without Tyreek Hill. They look just fine. And you know what? They're both winners in this.
They'll be okay.
I think that the Chiefs and the Dolphins are both winners in this week 1 because you look at the Dolphins, they go against the Patriots. I mean, did anybody hear anything about the Patriots this weekend? Did you see any highlights from the Patriots this weekend? Nothing. The Patriots got walked.
Yes.
By the Miami Dolphins. 20-3 or 20-7.
27, I think it was.
let me pull the scores up here while I'm sitting here, so I don't sit here and look stupid to y'all.
Yeah, everyone was thinking Mac Jones was ready to take the next step and be like the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
In that second year QB class.
Whew. Yeah. Everybody kind of figured
not today.
That it was just the next logical step with the Bill Belichick run offense, Bill Belichick run team. Dolphins get the 20-7 win, and Tyreek Hill actually has 8 receptions for 94 yards in that game. So he actually was producing very well for the team. I mean, no touchdown on the board, but didn't need it. Tua went 20 for 33, 270 yards and a touchdown. Looked solid. I saw some of the highlights from that game. Just watching through Red Zone. Looked solid. Looked like he had some confidence in there. Looks like they're trying to use his mobility a little bit with some bootlegs. But Miami, solid win. And then on the other side of that, you got Kansas City going in, playing against Arizona. 5 touchdowns. Kansas City with 5 touchdown passes.
I think the defense didn't watch their 4 hours of film.
Somebody didn't watch their 4 hours of film. Now, Patrick Mahomes was 30 for 39, 360 with 5 touchdowns. I mean, I don't think that anybody really expected that with Andy Reid as the offensive coordinator with what's his name? Damn. Eric Bieniemy. Those two running the offense. Obviously, you're going to have guys. The ball's going to get spread out. The ball was getting thrown all over the place. And that's kind of, I think that's kind of what I expected. That's what I expected from Kansas City. Without Tyreek Hill, it would just mean that more people would get the ball more on the offense than what you would normally see. And I mean, you still got Travis Kelce, who's a receiver. He's a mismatch of a receiver against any cornerback.
Yeah.
And there's such chemistry there with him and Patrick Mahomes that you just gotta know that he's gonna factor into that. He had 8 receptions, 121 yards. So a great game and a lot of great points on my fantasy league from Patrick Mahomes. Really enjoyed seeing him ball out like that. But those are teams that we had questions about in the offseason. Those questions are being answered very quickly. And let's talk about some more winners here. I think A.J. Brown is a winner. I think the Eagles are a winner. They squeezed out a win against the Lions.
Yeah.
But A.J. Brown had a great game. Another force that's showing that they are that the teams that let them go Gonna kind of regret that. AJ Brown had 10 receptions, 155 yards receiving. You know, that's what happens when you have a quarterback who actually provides a little bit of versatility for you. That's not something that he necessarily had in Tennessee, because that's an offense that's obviously built around King Henry, Derrick Henry, the running attack.
Right, hand it off,
They're not throwing the ball around like that. They're not throwing it around like that. So definitely a winner there in AJ Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles. Who else? Let's see here.
Justin Jefferson got off.
Justin Jefferson. Oh, man. Who called it?
Hey, you said they were going to win. You said they were going to
Who called it? I said these Vikings were in a statement game.
I'll give you your flowers.
Give me my flowers. I like tulips. I said this was a statement game. This was a game that would be the catalyst for the shift in power in the NFC North. And I mean, you look at the Packers, who are now 0-1. You look at the Chicago Bears, 1-0. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, 1-0. These guys have jumped out to early leads, and that's a divisional game for the Vikings. So that's a solid early lead to start the season in the division. And you can't count out Detroit, because Detroit could have beat. They could have beat
Philly.
I'm forgetting Philly. Yeah, they could have beat Philly. That could have been that game could have went either way.
They just gotta.
And this is a team that's going to be formidable as well.
You got to bite one more kneecap, and they're there.
Yeah, we just need one more ankle, and we're in there, guys. One more ankle. But this is a legitimately strong-looking division right now. This is a little bit of an overreaction. They're a strong-looking division right now. We'll see with the Bears. The Bears literally slide into that winning column with their win over the Niners. And, that is a win for Justin Fields. That's a win for the organization. Now, hey, Soldier Field, get with the assist. Let's not sit here and act like it wasn't. Soldier Field with the assist. I'll tell you what, I played on Soldier Field, my second year in the league. It was middle of the winter. I was like, this is not a good football field. This field is shit. And it's not changed very much since then. It's a bad field. I don't think there's anybody who will argue against that. But and it provides a challenge for teams who aren't prepared to come in and play in an adverse environment, because that's what it'll be. And the Niners came in, and they looked. I can kind of see why they didn't give old boy Trey Lance that captain badge now. He just didn't have a very good game.
Ooh,
didn't look very strong.
Damn. I did not see this one.
Yeah, I saw highlights from it.
All I saw was them squeegeeing the field off.
Yeah, the field was a wreck. The field was a literal mess. I don't think there's anybody who will argue that it's one of the worst fields in football, minus maybe FedEx. But those were the winners, I believe, in week one of some of the more notable games. Probably didn't get to everything there. But let's switch gears a little bit. Let's take a look at some losers. So, they served you up the Commanders. Week one, Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tavon Walker. This is supposed to be the start of a new era again for the second time in 2 years in Jacksonville. And we pissed down our leg.
Moment was too big. Just not ready for the big show, not ready for the big lights. We pissed down our leg, lose to a team that got to owner under federal investigation who's hiding off on a yacht somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea. That's who we lose to. Jaguars are our first team up on the losers of week one in the NFL. Now,
That's not to say that there wasn't any silver lining in these in this game for the Jags. Second half effort was fine. They looked like they wanted to try and win the game. They had the lead in the fourth. But of course, our secondary looked like hot garbage. And they were just giving up deep ball after deep ball to Carson Wentz. And I got a clip here just to show real quick. I hope they don't freaking demonetize my shit for this, but I got to show it because it made me sick to my stomach. You got the lead with 1:50 left. 3rd and 8. It's Carson Wentz. Just get pressure on him. He'll throw you the ball. Just rush him. He'll throw you the ball.
Yeah, don't do anything special.
You ain't got to do nothing crazy. But as you can see, whoever's calling defenses in Jacksonville, come on. You're killing me.
Jacksonville defense. They do.
So they actually bring 3-man blitz and nobody gets home.
Wow. I mean, yeah, he's still a professional quarterback. If you give him a pocket like that, eventually he will make you pay.
Look at this shit. Everybody's on the edge. Ain't nobody getting upfield. Everybody's in man coverage. You know what's about to happen if they don't get him to step up and try and escape. It's Carson Wentz.
Sure. And Wentz is protected for the end zone of Dotson.
Oh, okay. We're going to have to do this the right way. The guy's a little too fast. This guy's faster than drug money.
I'm not really an athlete.
I'm not really an athlete. We're in the nation's capital.
Oh, wow.
Feeling a real historical connection right now.
I mean,
but this guy's so good, I didn't even know the ball was coming. I don't even make a move on it. He catches the ball, easy touchdown. Game's pretty much sealed off.
He almost avoids the ball.
Stumbling over myself, stumbling over and falling over his legs like a toddler, like a toddler in a Mini Cooper. There they are, just celebrating, enjoying life at our expense once again. Davis!
God dang Davis. Motherfucker can't catch a break.
This guy. So, look, the Jaguars left plays on the field. The Jaguars didn't play very well in the first half at all. Looked wretched in the first half, came out, played in the second half better, but as a franchise is trying to get a new start, is trying to get some kind of enthusiasm in the fan base, you've got to have more than this. You've got to learn how to close out games. It's 3rd and 8 with a minute and 50 seconds left. I mean, there's no excuse for over-the-top bomb that doesn't even get contested. Like, there's no excuse for that. So the Jaguars are the first losers in week 1. Well, they're first at something at least this year.
There you go.
First losers in week 1 after a poor closing out of the Washington Commanders, which, I mean, I can't even say their fucking name right. I get confused whether I'm going to say football team, Redskins, or Commanders. That's not a team you lose to. That's not a team you lose to.
With Carson Wentz at the helm.
With Carson Wentz at the helm.
It's not.
Come on.
It's insult to injury right there.
I mean, my God. Oh. All right, let's move on. I've given them theirs. Just bad. Just bloody bad. All right, loser. Kyler Murray. It's Kyler Murray is a quarterback. How much did he get? $230 million?
I believe so.
$230 million quarterback who had a stipulation in his contract that he needed to study film because, we need to win. We need to win when it counts, which means, you're going to have to study a little bit, A little bit, just a little bit. And his Arizona Cardinals have a chance to come out in week one and I mean, all things considered, shock the world because they were going up against a team that was fully loaded. DeAndre Hopkins is out for 6 games on suspension. They've got injuries. You had Zach Ertz was coming out there playing injured, and he was a non-factor. So this was not a team that necessarily you were expected to beat, but you were expected as a quarterback to make it look good, at least.
Let's keep it competitive.
Make it look good. It doesn't register when his quarterback. Well, I mean, he had a solid enough game, 99 rating, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. But it's like, when did you get those touchdowns? That's the question. I believe those were touchdowns that were spread out few and far in between. Yes. So your 2 compared to Patrick Mahomes is 5. And this is not something. And to be fair, I'm not going to knock him too hard on the loss, but it feels more like a continuation of last year than a new beginning for this season for me. Watching the highlights from that game. He
didn't make any underhand granny throws.
No granny throws. I mean, he fought it on a couple plays. I saw it. He fought it. He fought the urge to just chuck it over his head and just say, "Fuck these guys. I quit." But Kyler Murray, I mean, not being able to come out at home in week 1 and get a win, and really not looking like the game was really all that competitive, even though he threw 2 touchdowns. I think that's something that people are going to kind of give him a knock for, because it just doesn't feel like this franchise is moving anywhere. They're just kind of running in place, and until he's able to elevate them, the last 2 years they started off, started fast, but even with that starting fast, it was a question of, okay, what about when they play the big teams in their division? How are they going to look? And it didn't look like a team that was ready to take over the division in the last few years. And, to start off with the loss against the Chiefs, kind of in a way where it just was like a very bland game for them. That's got to be a little bit worrisome. So I have them in the winner, in the losers, on the losers side for that one. But, I just, I'm not convinced with Kyler Murray. That contract didn't really change anything in my mind.
I think I'll reserve a little bit of judgment for when D-Hop gets back.
I mean, you can, I guess.
But, I mean, you still got to throw it to somebody.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to make plays.
Yeah, somebody's got to make plays. I guess I don't know if I want to say as a whole that the Packers will be in the loser side, but you have to think Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, a little bit of an anticlimactic start for both those guys. I would slide them just into the losers column right now in this week 1 because, again, this is a Packers team that has been dominant in this division over the years, and
the regular
season. Looked vulnerable. They looked vulnerable against the Vikings. They looked like a team that is very beatable. And the Vikings didn't have too much of a problem holding on. They kind of sealed that game. They sealed that game up. Now, you can see that it's different without Devontae Adams in there. That kind of threat to a secondary is treated much differently than what you would have seen last season with Devontae Adams out there. But then on the flip side of that, Devontae Adams in Las Vegas, he didn't have a terrible outing, but it didn't look like they were quite in sync yet. It didn't look like there was enough fluidity in that offense yet. And, there was a couple of Derek Carr-like throws where he just lobs that mug up. I'm telling you, and Devontae Adams got 3 people on him just hanging on his back, and it just gets picked off like it's nothing.
Make something happen. Here you go, buddy.
Ball just gets picked off, like just quick, beep, picked off, and you're just thinking to yourself, well, it's not going to work like that. That's not what we want.
No, I think he did have a touchdown to get within a score at the end of the game. towards the end of the game. But like you said, not a
it didn't feel like that game-breaking combination that we kind of expected it to be. But again, it's a week one. It's a little bit of an overreaction. But I'll say it wasn't a terrible game. Devontae Adams had 141 yards receiving. So it wasn't like, he went out there and just didn't perform. I just feel like, we kind of expected fireworks there because of that connection that everybody was talking about.
From him. Yeah.
Exactly. Everyone's, he had 141 and a touchdown. Derek Carr didn't have a bad game either. He had 295 and 2 touchdowns. But again, I think we kind of all expected more fireworks. We expected it to be a more explosive, but they were playing against a good team as well. Playing against a Chargers team that's got a revamped defense. Offensively, they've got weapons. They're explosive. And they're at home. And, they play better at home than they do anywhere else in the league. Not across the league, but as a team, obviously you expect to be better at home. So the Chargers pulled that game out, won 24-19. But I think that for what we kind of were hoping to see from the Raiders,
like that 45-42 type of game.
Yeah, we were expecting, I was expecting high 30s, maybe touch the 40s with the weapons that they have, And that would have been on both sides. I wouldn't have been surprised if both teams were sitting around 36, 38 points. But I think that it just kind of, things looked a little bit like they stalled a little bit. I was keeping up with some of the game casts on this game in particular, and they just stalled out a lot. They didn't really have a ton to really keep their momentum going. So things just kind of got by the wayside for them. So it's the week. It's the first week. That's all I can say. That's going to be the blanket excuse for every team when you talk to them about why they're winning or losing. It's going to be, hey, it's week one, which is true. You don't want to use it as an excuse, but it's also an undeniable part of why you see some sloppiness in games. I mean, that's how these things play out early. You got to get chemistry built up. You got to get players got to get on the same page. Preseason is shortened. Not a lot of starters out of preseason. I think that's a big question that we got to ask ourselves is, with all the preseason being kind of trimmed down, with all the fat of the preseason being trimmed, with players being held out longer, is that actually affecting the game itself now that the regular season starts? I would lean towards no, not necessarily, because if you think about the number of plays that you get as a starter, and if you have 4 preseason games, in the first game you might get 1 series, in the second game you might get 2 series, in the third game you'll get a half, and then you won't play in the fourth game generally. Right. So you're looking at like what? 20, 35 plays?
Yeah. Half of
25, 35 plays. That's not nothing. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not enough to say, oh, this is why we don't have chemistry. No, you pick that chemistry up in practice where you get thousands of plays. You know what I mean? So it's not because I had a couple people ask me about that on Twitter. Who sent me questions asking, do I think that it's because they're not playing in the preseason? And honestly, no, I don't think that's really has much to bear on it. I think that the first week of the NFL, as with the first week of college football, as with the first week of, any sport starting its season fresh, usually is the most disjointed you'll see across the board. And then things begin to smooth themselves out. That's why by week 4 is the point when you start to panic about your team if they're not performing. Because by week 4, you need to be sitting at 2 or 3 wins at least 2 wins. You need to be 500. And if you're not at the end of week 4, then there's going to be problems. Likely. Let's take a look at a couple of super chats here real quick. Sorry, I missed some of or I didn't get to them yet, but let's take a look. There's a couple here. We got It's Scout About for $5. Scout About says the world has ended. X team has lost. The whole season is over for said X team. Time to focus on the draft. Hey, I'm telling you, man, I almost had to hit the DEFCON 5 button for my Jaguars fans. I'm like, look, Jags fans, don't let this break your spirit. First reply was, my shit's already broken, cuz. They broke my shit already.
It's perpetually broken.
I'm like, hold on now. Just relax. There's some good things to see in there. Tavon Walker, first NFL rookie, first overall pick to have an interception and a sack in his first game. So that's huge. That's something great to look at if you're a Jags fan and say, hey, he's showing signs already in game one that he's a playmaker. He's got an interception and he got a sack. I mean, that's fantasy points too. If you got them, shoot.
Right. Hell yeah.
That's hella fantasy points. But yes, like there's some fans out there who are thinking that way. And I would just say, hey, hold those tears in till the end of week 4. Then you can just let them things spout all you want. Because right now it's a little bit too early. Too early.
If you're 1-3, 0-4, yes. Now it's time to hit up Mel Kiper and look at the draft.
And be like, what's the draft looking like? What do we need? Justin Morgan for $2 says, Ask Madden is better than Mike McCarthy's game plan. You know, I think that's the lowest. They said that's the lowest points that the Cowboys have scored. And don't you guys worry. They're next on the losers list.
Fuck you.
The Dallas Cowboys scored 3 points. As a matter of fact, we can roll right into it. The Cowboys are the biggest losers of week 1 in the NFL. And that's both figuratively and actually in real life. They have a boatload of problems and a boatload of issues that are going to plague them throughout this season. We'll get to that specifically in a second. But yes, the game plan, the Cowboys just don't look like they know what they want to be. And obviously, when you have an injury at the quarterback position again, that's going to affect things severely. Looking at Mike Caldwell for Jax in the fourth quarter skittish. In the 4Q skittish. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Mike Caldwell for Jackson. Oh, Mike Caldwell, the defense coordinator. I think that's who it is. Mike Caldwell. I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Maybe offense coordinator. I'm not sure. Don't really keep up with those. But I appreciate that $2 super chat there. It's Scout About. So the Cowboys, my goodness. Let's talk about Dallas for a second, y'all.
I'd rather not.
The Cowboys have got to be the most overrated, overhyped, over-enthused fan base in the NFL again this year. I mean, where do we start here? The Cowboys lose in almost embarrassing fashion.
Not almost.
To the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Cowboys look like trash. They look like garbage against
hot basura
against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And the Bucks, I mean, hell, the Bucks only scored 19 points. They didn't look stellar. They looked solid. They didn't look stellar.
Defense did a couple okay things, but to go from the highest scoring offense in the league to a damn field goal. Come on, guys.
I mean, look, the Cowboys look like a team that is already in week 13.
And it's not like Dak went down early. He didn't go down early.
Yeah.
They were playing like trash before he went down. No identity.
So,
it's just so frustrating when they, all these talking points in the off season, and then none of it comes to fruition. Week 1, we just like shit the bed, like, oh my God, what are we doing? Can't remember who's playing for us.
So
who do I get the ball to?
Here's a tweet from Urinating Tree, and I think this kind of sizes up the path that the Cowboys have taken that has brought them to this point. Trade away Amari Cooper for pennies on the dollar, let go of a huge chunk of their depth, keep Michael Gallup for reasons, overrate their own star power, get crushed in week 1, Dak out for half the year, Jerry Boy is pissed, Team is fucked. That's Dallas. Now, we already knew that they were going to have a hard time at left tackle because Tyron Smith was out with what's essentially a torn off hamstring from his knee, which, I mean,
how does that even happen?
I feel like that might be a career ender the way that sounds.
Who does that? Like, that's a fast people injury.
Massive. How does that muscle just give out like that? I mean,
that's an injury for like sprinters do that kind of shit.
Yeah. So we all kind of knew that there was going to be issues on the line, or we expected that the line would be that would be the weak point on the line with Tyron Smith being out with that injury.
Hell, the line wasn't shored up before he got hurt.
That. They weren't even shored up before that. That's true.
There were still a couple gaps, and now you got to shuffle and
it's just not. I mean, they're in a bad. I mean, all things considered, every team in the NFL, the one thing you want to do coming out of week one is not be injured. You want to come out with as little injuries as possible because it's just the beginning, and you can't really sustain when you lose a lot of your star power to injuries. Well, the Cowboys have lost a good chunk of their star power to injury. They lost Dak Prescott, who's now having to have thumb surgery. He's going to be out, what'd they say, 6 to 8 weeks?
I believe it was 6 to 8, yeah.
6 to 8 weeks for him.
Ty Smith.
Embarrassing loss at home opener. Woo. Let's see here. Let me go through. There's an article here that I'm going to read from. There's a little bit extra info in here. Just kind of go through look through their injury report. Let's see. Things were already bleak for Dallas before its Sunday night matchup with the Buccaneers. Star left tackle Tyron Smith, we already talked about that. Team's number 2 receiver, Michael Gallup, still out with an ACL injury from last year. He's not even playing. But Connor McGovern, starting left guard, because the original starting left guard, Tyler Smith, moved to left tackle to replace Tyron Smith, went down in the middle, went down with an ankle injury and needed to be helped off the field. Jaron Curse, the team's starting strong safety and last year's team leader in tackle, suffered a knee injury and left the stadium on crutches. 6 minutes left in the game. Worst possible thing could happen. Dak Prescott suffered a hand injury that will require surgery. It's unclear how long he'll be out. They're saying several weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. It's possible Prescott could soon land on injured reserve and miss up to 2 months. But the Cowboys looked awful, even with Dak scoring just 3 points in the 54 minutes Prescott did play. The Cowboys are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way now. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL before this game, and we just didn't come out and say it because that's not what you do to the Cowboys going into a football season. You don't say that they're one of the worst teams. It's supposed to be Cowboys to the Super Bowl.
Every year, baby.
Cowboys to the Super Bowl.
Every year.
Every year before week one starts. Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. No, you're not going to the Super Bowl. No. Matter of fact, you'll be lucky if you place better than third in the division. Better than third. And I mean, and I'm talking about maybe a game ahead of the Commanders. You know what? Y'all motherfuckers might come in last.
Yeah, talk about overreaction.
Overreaction Monday. The Cowboys are going to win 3 games this year.
This cat's got to come back at some point. Shit.
It's over.
Can Micah Parsons play quarterback? Micah, why don't you play these teams by yourself?
Who is their backup quarterback? Who's running backup?
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. Oh, he sounds like a backup. Boy, good luck, Coop. You're going to get a lot of experience this year. Hey, man, just get film. Get you some good film.
Right. Hey.
Show that you can stand in that pocket and take a shot and keep throwing it.
Backup QB is the best job in town. Somewhere. That's the best job in town until you have to play.
Best job in town until you got to play. Now he got to play. He got to pay attention in game planning. Woo, it's going to be a rough one for my boy. But I think, all things considered in week one, you have your winners, you have your losers. With the Cowboys here, with what they have suffered already in week one, I mean, they would have to be the biggest loser. And I think that, it's going to be a rough road for them. Now, let's not forget about another team.
Pittsburgh might be close.
Pittsburgh won their first game.
They won the game, but lost the defensive player of the year.
Yes. TJ Watt is out with the torn pec, it looks like.
Lost a potential breakout running back. Not sure how long
Harris
he's out yet. Not sure. Haven't heard a report on his actual injury yet, but did not look good.
Yeah, Najee Harris went out.
Doesn't always mean it's going to be a long time or anything. But
we're not sure. I'm sure they'll have an MRI. They should. I mean, hell, they should probably already have. They'll have him on the injury report for sure. If they haven't said if they haven't said it's a season ender at this point, then he's probably looking at just multiple weeks out.
Yep.
Let's take a matter of fact. Let me take a look real quick, see what Pittsburgh's talking about.
Mike Tomlin's going to win his 9 games. Somehow.
They say source Watt to get more opinions on torn pec. Yeah, if his pec is torn, he's done for the season. Let's see. Are they saying anything about Najee? I'm not seeing anything in regards to
rub some icy hot on it. He's all right.
Yeah, they said he should be good to go next week. Says questionable status. Tests on Harris's foot injury came back negative Monday, and they say sources say that the running back should be good to go this coming Sunday against Patriots. TJ Watt pectoral will receive a second and third medical opinions on his injury Tuesday. If he's smart, if they say it's torn, bruh, it's torn. Sit down. Yeah. You got your money. Now you want to keep your longevity.
Right.
Little score update. Seahawks are up 7-0 on the Broncos. 8 minutes left in the first quarter. 8.5 minutes left in the first quarter. But, I did want to, for 1 second, before we move into talking about these college football upsets, let's for 1 second, let's pay homage to the literal misery that is the Atlanta Falcons fan base. Let's pay homage to the team that just can't seem to win when it matters or to keep leads when you have to. These are a list of all the games that the Falcons have lost while leading in the game. In the clutch even. We all know about this one. Everybody knows about this one. 28-3. You can even if you took this off of here, it still looks disgusting.
Golly.
Yeah, 28-3. Loss. 30-20 with 6 minutes left in the fourth. That's a 2-score lead with 6 minutes left. Loss. 17-0 at the start of the third against Miami. Loss. 39-24 against the Cowboys. That is a 15 points in
5 minutes
lead with 5 minutes in the fourth. Loss. 26-10 against these Bears with 6.5 minutes left in the fourth. Loss. 24-7 with 4 minutes in the third. Loss. And then here you have yesterday, week 1 of the NFL season, the new beginning, the fresh start, all the hope and optimism that every franchise in the league has to start week 1, whether you know it or not, you think your team got a chance. If you were a Falcons fan with 11 minutes left in the fourth, you're thinking to yourself, I think we might be back. Division rival, we're up 3 scores, 2 scores technically. We should be good to go. 26-10. Loss.
Good ball, man. I think you got to start spotting these teams.
Loss.
Flip the script. We'll spot you 10 points.
Loss.
And then we'll come back on you.
Loss. So what is the state of the of the Falcons fan base as we speak today. The Falcons fan base is in utter disarray, and this is just one example of the complete disorientation that we have here for you to see.
Like, bro, I don't want to talk about this shit, bro. I don't want to around me right now, bro. Like, this shit hurt, bro. I've been talking shit all week, bet some money. Y'all lost by 1 point, bro.
I mean,
can we get a wellness check on this man?
This man needs a wellness check right now. I mean, he was so ready to lose it. He did the bird call. He did the bird call.
Oh, little something. Make Carly Young come out in the black claw touch.
What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? He will talk.
I mean, if you're a Falcons fan, it's rough right now. I understand it. I'm partly a Falcons fan myself. You know what I'm saying? We in ATL, you got to root for them. I mean, it's ATL, you got to root for your ATL.
Oh yeah.
But my God, how much more pain do we have to suffer through? God's tested me. Ooh, look at this man's eyes. His eyes are glassy. Like he is lost and distraught. He doesn't know what to do.
Most of y'all have never known pain like this.
Shit, bro.
Look at the tear. Look at the one tear coming down his eye. He got one tear.
Like, bro, I don't want to talk about this shit, bro. I don't want to around me right now, bro. Like, this shit hurt, bro. I've been talking shit all week, bet some money. Y'all lost by 1 point, bro.
I have never known pain like this man.
My boy is hurting. Look at him. He got the one tear coming down his eye like a Native American in the commercials.
Wow.
Oh, man. He got the tear coming down his eye. He got the cracking voice. He can't barely breathe. Whoo! He's doing bird calls.
Like somebody just kicked his dog.
Man, like somebody shot his dog. Shoot,
yeah.
Kicked him, he gonna get mad. Shot him, he gonna get sad.
Right.
Oh.
Shot his dog, woman left him. Like, come on.
He bet all the money he was gonna spend on his girl birthday present on this game. He thought he had it locked. He said, shit, we can get these Saints.
Yeah, I'm about to come up.
You about to come up on this ass on this comeback. That's what you're about to come up on. Shoot. But you know, again, I mean, I don't even know, you know, I don't even know where to put the Falcons into the losing category for week one, because yes, they did lose the game. But if you watch the game, you're just like, bruh, y'all looked good until the fourth quarter. Maybe if we just take the fourth quarter out of football, y'all win more games.
We need like the live tour in golf where they cut it down to 3 days instead of 4.
So we can find 3 quarters.
Yeah, just play 3 quarters or do like 3 periods like hockey. We'll be all right.
Because, I mean, it's like if the Falcons have a lead in the fourth, you can guarantee they're going to lose the game. Guaranteed.
Ugh.
Oh, Arthur Blank must be sick to his damn stomach. I know I would be. These bums. These bums. What y'all keep doing this to me for?
We got to call the fourth quarter something else. We got to come up with another word for the fourth quarter.
We got to do something because, I mean, y'all just out here just getting murdered. Now, let's move along. That's pretty much our week one reactions. Some, and we'll get to a couple. Well, I guess we've done a little bit of overreacted as well, so we'll see how that goes towards the end. But there's another level of football that had one heck of a weird week in college football. Now, college football, I won't claim to watch a ton of it, but I do pay attention to my conference that I played in as an athlete. The Big Ten has a crisis on its hands, ladies and gentlemen. The Big Ten has a select number of teams in it. And this is the league that's growing now. This is a conference that is going to grow all the way from coast to coast.
Yeah, you're picking up the Cali teams.
We're picking up 2 Cali teams. We're about to become a super division.
We going back.
But I tell you what, we need to send a couple of these bums back packing. Get the hell out of our division. You know who I'm talking about. Let's start this. First and foremost, these bums, we let them in thinking that they was going to bring something worth a damn to our division, to our league. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. For those of you who don't know, Georgia Southern. Tell me where in Georgia Southern is.
That's not the Bulldogs, people.
That ain't the Bulldogs. That ain't even Georgia State.
It's not the Yellow Jackets.
That ain't even GSU. If it was GSU, I'd be like, hey, GSU, they done came up a little bit now.
Right.
GSU got some quality wins over the past few years. This is Georgia Southern, not Georgia State, not Georgia Tech, not Georgia. Georgia Southern from the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah, I can't front. I don't know where that is.
I don't even know who's in it. Is TCU in that shit? I don't know. Who's in that?
Are they in Valdosta? What's in South Georgia? Like Savannah?
Valdosta would beat the hell out of Nebraska. Valdosta might blank Nebraska. But Georgia Southern, the Georgia Southern Bald Eagles, I guess.
Looks that way. Wow.
They beat a Big Ten team. You know how much? Do you know how much Nebraska paid Georgia Southern to come play them in Nebraska?
Was it over
$1.4 million?
I was going to guess $1 million.
Easiest money they ever made.
Wow.
Look how they just trolled the shit out these bums. Ah, shucks. Where are they at? Where are you guys at?
Oh,
Georgia Southern University.
Statesboro. People saying Statesboro in the chat. Statesboro.
Statesboro. Where the fuck is Statesboro?
That doesn't help me. I don't know
that doesn't give me anything. Home of the Fighting Young Hokus. So that's where Young Hoku, the kicker, came from?
Okay.
I mean, hey, they got somebody who's more famous than anybody on Nebraska's team in the last 5 years.
Yeah, true. And they beat them so bad they fired their coach. Yeah. Frost is out. And his buyout. I think his buyout was like 15.
Hold up now. Hold on.
The buyout would have gone down to like 7.5 if they waited like a month.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I was just reading on that a little earlier.
Scott Frost fired. Yeah. I mean, what did you expect? One more embarrassing loss like that, and Nebraska might get decommissioned from the Big Ten. Like, yo, we brought y'all in here thinking y'all was going to, at least be on par.
Could you imagine relegation in college football?
Oh man, they'd be relegated to deep Division II 3 years ago. They'd have been relegated to Division II 3 years ago.
Yeah, I wish I could get fired from a job and get paid $15 million.
I mean, yeah. How do you fail and make money?
Please give me that job. Be like Ed Orgeron. What time y'all want me to leave, and which door y'all want me to leave out of?
Which one? Ooh, Jason Gaines for $10. He says, "Here's a film breakdown for you, Uche. In 2012, Justin Blaylock opens a huge hole for Michael Turner on a counter run for the game-winning 13-yard TD. The Falcons won 24-17 over the Skins in the rain."
Oldie
but a goodie. That one.
Oldie but goodie there. Huh? Oh yeah. Hey, the burner.
Michael Turner was a beast.
Hey, he was a problem. He
was good, man. I remember we played y'all one year, and him and Mojo were just chilling, talking after the game, and I'm like, "Yo, they look exactly the same.
Yeah, y'all the same.
They're both like 5'0" big ass legs and some big ass arms, and they just run. You can't see them when they running; they just disappear.
Yeah, the same dude. Yeah, we had some games with him. Some slobber knocker, 2 chin strappers.
Oh, those are the best kind. When you know you got the running back for it, those are the best kind. Those are the best kind. So, yeah, look at this. They paid Georgia Southern $1.5 million because you just think that that's a non-conference game. That's like, okay, let me put it in perspective for those of you who don't understand how bad this is. That's like Purdue, who you just saw barely lose to Penn State. Really, we should have beat them, but we lost. They won. That's like Purdue, the very next week, playing against Indiana State and losing. Do you know what would happen? Do you know what would happen at Purdue if we lost to Indiana State? They'd burn down the university. It would be a riot. You would see all these engineering students just tearing the place apart because it doesn't matter how bad you are. When you invite a team that's not even really legitimately a Division I team to come to your university and play, and really after losing to Northwestern, they needed this. They needed this. This was a confidence builder game. This was the confidence builder game. Look, when we lost to Penn State in week 1, you know what Purdue did next week against Indiana State? 52-0.
Yeah, that's the slump buster. When you get the fat joint.
We back! Mortimer, we're back. Back. That's what that game is. That's why you put that game on your schedule. In case something goes wrong in week 1, you need that bounce back in week 2, and it needs to be a hell of a bounce back.
We got to feel good about ourselves going into conference play.
We got to feel something.
Ooh.
We got to feel something. But this, after you just lost to Northwestern, which look, they're not the Northwestern of old.
Hey, take it easy.
Northwestern of old.
My mom
we used to dart them 50-something to nothing too.
My mom went there. Please be easy on Northwestern.
They're a better Northwestern than they've ever been at any point in the past.
This is true.
I wasn't really surprised that they beat Nebraska. I felt like Nebraska, if there was a reason why Nebraska should have won that game, it's because y'all were the ones who set this up to go to Ireland to play football. Like y'all are somehow like just connected to Ireland in some meaningful way. Okay.
I was like,
this is your game.
Why is it Notre Dame playing in Ireland?
Huh?
Why is it Notre Dame playing in Ireland?
Yeah, why is it Notre Dame playing? Why is freaking Nebraska playing in Ireland? Okay, well, you lost.
Good job, buddy.
Nice. You lost to a team that you're supposed to be better than.
Way to think that through.
So these bums say, okay, you know what, guys? Hey, we lost that week 1 game. Let's say they're a Big Ten team too now. They're a Big Ten team too. Next week we got Georgia Southern. We're gonna have a good game plan for you. It's gonna be a smooth week of practice. We're gonna come out feeling good after this game.
Hey, you don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. Let's go kick their ass.
You don't know where they're at. We don't know where their school is. They're coming to Nebraska. They're coming into Lincoln. And we got a tradition here when we play teams that aren't on par with us in Lincoln. We blow them out. You were in a fucking nail biter and you lost. And now your coach is gone. Your season's shot. Anybody who thought they had any chance of making it to the NFL, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Scouts stop showing up. Nobody cares. That's one team in the Big Ten that has shown that maybe we need to reconsider whether or not they should be in this conference. Now another team. Hold on, let me pull them up. I just want to make sure. Yes. Where are they? There they are. Another team that has shown a complete ineptitude in this conference. That, hey, maybe we can't kick them out because they've been here too long. They've been here so long you can't just kick them out. Like they have some standing. They have some Big Ten titles. And they've had a run of Big Ten titles, actually. But let's be real. What we saw last week and what we saw this week, little to no change. Iowa State beats Iowa 10-7, and I'm not sure that Iowa scored a touchdown because they scored 7 points last week and they didn't score a touchdown.
Oh, was it 2 safeties and a field goal?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Against
Wow.
a very bad team. I can't even remember who they played.
Now, Iowa State's not bad.
Iowa State is not bad. Iowa State still should not beat Iowa.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like pretty high
The
up
big
in
brother. Iowa's
in the-
supposed to be big brother.
Yeah,
Iowa State's supposed to get all their sloppy seconds in recruiting.
exactly. Wow.
10-7. Their season high in points is 7 in Iowa. 7. 2 games in. Got to reconsider. I mean, at least got to give them some kind of like, hey, look, if you guys lose 5 straight and don't score more than 30 points, you might have to revoke your Big Ten card. Not gonna lie. We'll see. But that was an ugly game. Now, there were some more upsets. And this upset was especially satisfying because for some reason, colleges seem to think that it's a good idea to schedule this team and play them. Michigan thought it was a good idea. Didn't work out very well. And now here, we have the Texas A&M Aggies. Number 1 recruiting class in the country.
Of all time, apparently.
Number 1 recruiting class ever in the history of football. And you lose. Number 6 loses to Appalachian State. And look, Appalachian State has a bigger win than this.
Yeah, what was Michigan when they beat them? Were they number 2?
Michigan was like number 2 or number 3.
I think they've had like 3 or 4 like top 10 wins.
They were top 5 when they beat Michigan. Appalachian State beats the number 6 team in the country. Appalachian State don't get enough respect because this is another team thinking that they can schedule this dangerous, pretty much on par Division I college to play against them. This is a loss for the SEC against a FCS team. FCS. They are the giant killer of college football. The giant killer. And they did it again. They got another team slipping. That 12th man didn't even shake them not one bit. And I know JB loves this because I mean you a Texas cat. This is nothing but pleasure.
I needed this.
This is that good loving after that game against Alabama. Look, the Longhorns are legit. I'll say that. They look legit.
No, we played our ass off. I was there.
Yeah.
In the building, man. It was going up for a second.
I was like, hey, these cats look like Texas gonna pull this shit off with the backup QB.
We were about to storm the field like a motherfucker too.
Hey, people was already like pulling on the dang ropes.
We were plotting.
We about to go up in here, cuz.
But you got to finish. Got to execute down the stretch.
But I mean, look, Texas has taken the correct path back into relevance. They've gotten their recruiting back up, and they test their university against the top teams in the country.
Yeah.
They didn't go find no haphazard team to lose to, like Iowa and Nebraska and Notre Dame. I mean, not even Notre Dame's just garbage.
Well, Notre Dame is they about to be out of coach too.
Three
games in.
Texas Longhorns did it the way you're supposed to do it. They got their recruiting slowly came back to them year after year. They got a little bit better. They got their head coaching situation figured out. They got the culture figured out again. And now they got people wanting to come to Texas again. So when you see them go out and essentially put Alabama through the ringer, Alabama had to make big-time plays. Big-time plays. Like they were in an SEC title game to beat the Texans. Because they were, the Longhorns, I'm sorry. The Longhorns, because them boys came to play. They came to play. And they got talent. Their defense looked good. They looked talented.
We got some dogs out there. But our problem has been
they look just as good every fast as Alabama looked on the field.
I agree. But our problem has been we'll play like this and then go out and lay an egg
game after.
Against a lesser opponent.
Yeah. I think that's what, and that's what is the mark of that's where a team, that's where you can find out if a team is really worth its salt, is the game following what appears to be the big leap forward game, the game that kind of shows that you're on the right path. Now you're going to have to follow that up with solid wins, because if you can push Alabama to that limit, then the next team should not be looking like a team that can play with you. If you can play at that level against Alabama, and if you can play at that level consistently, you're not going to lose many games at all.
Yeah, play at that
because
you'll go 10-2, 11-1.
You might lose 2 games.
Oklahoma State is supposed to be pretty good this year. Oklahoma's always good. You should win everything else if you play to that level, to that standard for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so if they can play up to that level. If they can play 85% of that, even they're going to be happy with how it looks at the end of the year, and they're going to be even happier with their recruiting next year, because Texas is looking like Texas again.
Yep.
And this is all from just looking at these first 2 games. They look like they're a team that's back on the path of being a prominent team again. Given the Big 12 its teeth again, because the Big 12 has not had much in way of success. And that's why they've kind of been seeing a steady loss of teams that are just kind of filtering out of there.
They're going to go extinct after next year. When they lose Texas and Oklahoma, hey, cancel Christmas.
They lose Texas and Oklahoma, that'll fold the division. That'll fold the conference. It's who's going to watch a Big 12 game? Who cares?
I think they're getting Cincinnati, Houston, BYU, and one other team that I can't think of right now that no one gives a fuck about. So.
Yeah. So we'll
sayonara, Big 12.
It's there's just a lot going on with some of these college football teams that are bringing out just the worst. They're just having the worst in regards to overestimating the teams that they're playing against. That it's almost like
you underestimate my power.
Like, you can't underestimate these teams just because they look young in the book, like they look like young booty. Like you can just go and pipe and just take their shit. No, you can't. You can't underestimate what they're capable of. You can't think because you're the number 6 team in the country that it's just going to go down like this. You can't. You can't think that you just have unlimited power because it's Appalachian State. And it don't matter how close the game is, y'all just gonna walk it out the park by the end. It don't happen like that.
Yep.
It don't happen like that.
That's the most dangerous thing you can do with any team.
It's the most dangerous thing. Because then you start because you know what happens when you do that? This shit right here. This is gonna go up. This picture right here is gonna go up on the wall. This picture is gonna go up on the wall in the front of their athletic center just for recruiting purposes.
Yeah, that's going to be on my whole stadium. Those big ass banners.
The stadium.
Yep. As soon as you get to, I don't know where the fuck Appalachian State is. I'm assuming it's in North Carolina somewhere.
I thought it was like Virginia or some shit. I don't even know where they at. Where's Appalachian State? Anybody know?
As soon as you drive into my city, just the biggest billboard I can find.
See, welcome to Appalachian, the home of the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Welcome. Come on. But I give them props because Appalachian State that's what they've done. Oh, it's in tiny Boone, North Carolina. My goodness.
Wow.
That's not a place I'd be in after dark.
You look like you lost there.
It's hey boy, you lost. You lost there.
Hey, I bet they got great moonshine.
Oh, they got the greatest. Burn a hole through your liver. So, now who else was there? Who did Marshall beat? I forgot.
Notre Dame.
What? Oh yeah.
Hey.
Garbage ass Notre Dame.
Never been an 0-3 start for a coach in Notre Dame.
Wow. Let me hold on now. Let me pull them up. I knew that was the third one, huh? Marshall.
No. They're 0-2. They got
Notre Dame's 0-2, right?
Yeah. I don't like Notre Dame at all. Can't stand them, actually.
Yeah, I hate Notre Dame. I hate them.
But I want him to have success. I mean, selfishly.
Yeah, here's another team. Oh God. I mean, how do you feel if you are a fan of Notre Dame? How do you reconcile this in your brain? Like,
you got beat by
your home field. This is what's happening on your home field at the end of the game. Y'all both wear the same colors, so it's hard to tell if this is a home game or an away game. Seems like a home game to me. Feels like it.
How did they get their fans that close to the field?
Because all the Notre Dame fans left as soon as that shit was over. They say, yeah.
Okay, but you got to whip some ass to get that close.
Hey, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yo, why didn't they? I mean, I felt like there should have been a fight breaking out right there because what you think you're doing? This ain't y'all field. Don't be over there hanging out like y'all home team. Come on. But Marshall beats Notre Dame. I mean, look, I'm happy about that. I don't care about Notre Dame. But this is a team that constantly gets hyped. Every single year, they're hyped.
They're the Cowboys of college football.
They're the Cowboys of college football. They get the top five treatment every year. Every year. Because they got a good TV contract with CBS. Every year. This is a team that gets hyped up. I mean, they couldn't survive in any big conference, honestly, because they get to set their own schedules. They set their own schedule, and they can't even beat Marshall. I mean, that's another game where you paid them to come to you. Made that bread.
Hey, and I was looking at the schedule earlier today. It could easily get to 0-5, 0-6.
They looking at a historic collapse. A historic collapse in South Bend.
They might need the Pope to come out and bless the field or something.
Bless the field with holy water because we can't win right now. We can't win. Can you call God? Touchdown Jesus, somebody.
Anybody.
Let them know we're playing this weekend.
Anybody get out here.
Oh. Notre Dame takes an L again, which I'm happy to see. So, I won't complain about that for 1 second. But, it's college football's landscape is changing. And there's a lot of reasons why it's changing. One, they want to make the playoffs bigger. Two, the NIL is going to have a substantial effect on the power structure, I believe, in college football, because now you're going to have cities that are going to be able to produce, colleges that are in cities are going to be able to produce enough money to try and, woo top recruits over. And this is a little bit of a sidebar, but I would say one team, one school that in the next 10 years, I would not be surprised to see them ascend into the into a top 10, top 15 team. SMU Mustangs. SMU is in the center of what? SMU's in North Highland.
It's in Highland Park.
Highland Park, Texas.
When they turn the NIL spigot back on.
Oh my goodness! Hey, when they turned that, look, that SMU has so much money. They have so much money They could compete. They could actually get enough good recruits to get themselves out of the current conference they're in and make a push to go into the Big 12. They should. They can do that. Yeah. They've got talent, and they've been ranked in the top 25 in the last few years as well. So they've already shown without the NIL that they can become a team that can compete and beat good teams.
Yeah, when they get that Pony Express up and running again, look out.
If they get that Pony Express up, my God.
Boys going to be riding around in Lamborghinis and
Bentleys. You're going to see their players riding. All legal now, baby.
Exactly.
All legal now. But, we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, there's going to be more upsets as the year goes on, and we're going to keep an eye on all of that. But that is going to do it for this week's show. This Monday's show. Lineman Life Live. We will be back on Wednesday to talk more fantasy football. We're going to talk fantasy football. We're also going to look at a couple of the games from this past NFL Week 1 matchups. We're going to take a look at some O-line film. We're going to break down some O-line. We'll have the all-22 footage up and running by then. Usually by Wednesday, they have it up. So we'll be able to look at some coaches' film and break down some of these games from the O-line standpoint. I want to take a look at that Philly-Detroit game. I think that's going to be an excellent game to look at as far as O-line. And maybe we take a look at the Kansas City game. Maybe we take a look at one or two other games from around the league in Week 1. But that is going to be it here for us on Lineman Life. Excuse me there. I'm Reserve Lineman Uche Nwaneri. This is my co-host, Justin Blaylock, JB.
Yes, sir.
And we are Linemen of Lineman Life. We appreciate y'all for being in here. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to the channel. Monday Night Football is going on right now. We're going to go check that out. We will see you guys later. Hope everybody has a good night. And we'll see you on Hump Day. Peace out.
Peace.